Hello guys, this is Reza and welcome to our Python tutorials. In this tutorial we're going to learn how to read files. In order to do that, I have created a text file called films.txt. I have put it in the same directory where my application files are, so I don't need to give a complete path and I can give a relative path to this. I will talk about that later. But in this simple text file, I have got a list of 3 films: Malena by Giuseppe Tornatore, Rain Man by Barry Levinson, and The Godfather by Francis Ford Coppola. And in our application we want to read this file. Keep in mind that now we are going to read a text file, but we can read every type of file using Python. And of course there is plenty of pre-built libraries that you can use in order to read different types of files, like XML, like JSON files, like CSV files, and so on. We're going to work on a very simple one, which is a text file reader, and we want to read these films. In order to do that, we need to create a variable for the file to put the file inside. We call that variable films file, and then in this file we want to open this films.txt and put everything inside the films variable. How do we do that? We use the open keyword, and then inside open keyword we have to determine the path towards the file. Because it is a relative path and we are here in this directory, we just need to give the name of the file, which is films.txt. But in case you wanted to give an absolute path, as you can see here, C:\users Reza M Python projects read file, you can give it like this. So you could do like this, and then give the directory where your file is. For us, this is enough. And then you have to determine the mode that you want to open this file. Now we want to read, so the mode is only read. But there are different modes that you can use. When you want to read something from a file, you have to use this R mode. If you want to write something to a file, you will use W as the mode. And what does this W mean? It means that if the file exists, it opens the file, and if you want to write a line, it will overwrite the file. It doesn't append to the file. It will write everything from scratch. So it deletes the file and writes everything on it. If you put A, it means append. It means that you want to add something to the end of the file. So it opens the file, and then you can, using the keyword write, you can write the files. In the next tutorial we will learn how to write on the files. And then if you use R+, it means read and write possibilities. So if you write R+, you can read the file and you can write to the file. So just to make it more clear, if you write W here, you cannot read the file anymore. You can only write on the file. Now we want to read the file, so we use R, and then in order to see if we have done everything correctly, we will print films file dot readable. This readable function returns true or false. If this file is readable, it will return true. Because we have opened it with mode R, it has to be readable and it will return true for us, hopefully. Yes, it returned true. If we change this to W, it has to return false because it is not readable anymore. Let's check. As you can see, false is returned. So we are sure that with mode R, we can read the file correctly. Now let's read the first line of this file. Read line. As you can see here, the file is deleted. Why? Because we have opened it with W, and then when opening with W, it will open the file and clears everything inside that file. I will just reload the file by Ctrl Z, and then we will come here and then read the first line. The first line is supposed to be Malena by Giuseppe Tornatore. Let's run the program to see if the first line gets printed. Malena Giuseppe Tornatore. So it is working perfectly. We can read files line by line like this, or we can read all the lines inside one separate file using read lines function. And then we can print these lines. But what is there in this line? This is a list, because this read line returns a list. As you can see here, it returns a list of string values. So it returns a list. This list has 3 items inside, which are each of these lines of code. So if we print this one, it will give us a list. As you can see, the list starts with open brackets, Malena Giuseppe Tornatore, comma, Rainman, and then the other, and then finishes the list. But if we want to get access to real lines of code, not to a list, we can iterate over that list item. But just be careful about this \n. Each line ends up with a \n. It means enter. When you press enter on a line, it goes to the next line. This one is not needed for us. Actually, we have to get rid of this. Also, we have to get rid of all the spaces at the start and end of the file. So imagine that in this file, we put some spaces at the end. Then if we run this program, let's save this one. And if we run the program, you can see that there are many spaces here and then \n. We don't want these spaces and this \n. How can we get rid of these? Let's read the lines one by one. We can say for line in lines, as you remember, for loops. Then we want to print line and not lines. Line. But if we print a line, we will have Malena Giuseppe Tornatore, all of these spaces. We don't have \n, but it goes to the next line. What does it mean? It means there is a space between the lines. Let me show you what it shows. Malena Giuseppe Tornatore, next line. And we know that print automatically goes to the next line when it is called for the second time. So we have got one enter or \n at the end of each line, and then we have got one enter after this print. So we have got 2 next lines. In order to avoid that and also avoid the empty spaces at the end of each line, we have this strip function we can call on each string. This strip function removes all the new lines and empty spaces before and after each string. Return a copy of the string with leading and trailing white space removed. So if we run this program now, everything is as written here in the real file. Malena Giuseppe Tornatore, it will remove the \n here, and print automatically goes to the next line and prints everything inside the file. You can do everything you like with this string. If you have got any questions on how to use them, you can refer to the tutorial related to strings. And if you have got more questions, you can ask me in the comments below this video. I will answer your questions as soon as possible. In this video, we talked about how to read files. We had an example of a very simple text file. You can do the same using CSV files, XML files, JSON files by different libraries that are available in Python 3. And I hope you have enjoyed this video. If you like this, please give us thumbs up and subscribe to our channel to encourage us to create more videos. Have fun and don't forget to practice.